Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm continuing my quest for England, and I'm in search of Sussex, and I'm following this remarkable book, Off the Beaten Track by Arthur Stanley Cooke. It's a terrific book written 100 years ago, and I'm following chapter 1. You can download this book, by the way, for free if you want to read the actual text as I go about traipsing around the countryside. So I'll leave a link in the description so that you can do that. This is the second of my trips on chapter 1. So this is from Bramber to Shoreham. We're doing a journey, and now in the first episode I left myself over in Upper Beeding, and I was going to go to St. Peter's, the church there, but I've made a video a while ago where I follow the route along the river to the church and then back again, and I end up here at St. Botolph's. So rather than just repeat myself, and the journey is quite a simple one, I thought I'd continue and pick out more of the interesting stuff. So this is St. Botolph's Church. Well, this is by far my most favourite church in Sussex. It's very simple, it's a beautiful setting, it's very old, and I just love it. I think there's some I don't know, there's some magical charm about it. It's run by the church's conservation trust now. It's no longer really up and running as a church. The landscape here, as you can see, is just absolutely wonderful, perfect setting. So I'm not going to go into any detail about the history of the church and all of that, because, well, it's the lockdown, and unfortunately the churches are still closed. And Arthur Cooke, in his book, he does talk a little bit about the interesting things on the inside, so we can't really look at those, which is a shame. But there are some other aspects that he says which are fascinating. I love the flint work here. It's just so gorgeous. So what does he say? On 21, I think it is, there's lots of waffle and beautiful views across the countryside that he's got in the sketches, which just goes to show the River Ada, which is actually just over there. But we've got a lot more trees now, it seems. A lot more, seems to be more shrouded in than it once was. He says here, I have never yet found a village church in Sussex that had not the keenest interest for me, even if it were plain, almost to dullness. Such a one, perhaps, is St. Botolph's, and yet, if instead of large sweeping glances which take in everything and retain nothing, we bring our eyes to look for the detail which may repay study, we shall see that the church arch is rude enough to have been the work of ancient Britain. And he's talking about the chancel arch on the inside, which is lovely. It's a shame we can't go in, but that doesn't matter so much. This is really the focal point, or the starting point, of our walk, which we're now going to go over towards Coombes. People often ask me when on these videos if I would just linger a little and look at the inscriptions of some of the headstones that there are in the churches. There's not that many in this church. The main cemetery is actually around the corner, but this is fascinating. This is actually a little wobbly, so you've got to be a bit careful here and respectful. This is in loving memory of Isabella Gertrude Jerram, born on the 19th of December 1876 and died on the 8th of October 1966. I can't really read the rest of that, also her son Herbert. So yeah, it's always interesting to think, who were these people, what were their lives like, and why did they end up here? Whether they lived in the village or whatever, who knows. Anyway, can't linger any longer. We are now going to make our way towards Coombes on the old grassy track. Of course, the grassy road, or the grassy track, these days, 100 years later, is not a grassy track. Well, it's certainly hard to imagine this as an old grassy track. I know this road pretty well. I've been driving on it for ages. But yes, Arthur talks about how it's covered in grass and almost vanished. You get the impression that he can't quite work out where the original road is going down to Coombes. Now it's a lovely route with some terrific views, if you don't mind the old cement factory over there where the quarrying and the cement was made, but beautiful hills all around here. And on the other side, looking to my west, pig farm with some delightful pigs. How lovely. Right, let's keep going. This is Coombes, and it's a wonderful place. It's tucked away in effectively a coombe in the valley between the River Adur and the hills on that side and the hills on this side, and I just love it here. The Coombes Farm is wonderful. In the springtime they do their lambing and they open it up for children, and the lambs are just beautiful. But unfortunately, of course, this year they've been unable to open it up because of the virus, which is a real pity. But it's a lovely farm, a lovely place, lovely people as well. And up here on the hill, almost in the hillside, is Coombes Church. It's a fabulous church. Wonderful, ancient flint, rubble, beautiful windows, mullioned windows, Horsham stone roof. It's just gorgeous. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it fantastic? Look at it. This is such a beautiful church. Love the flint napping here. So, what does Arthur say? Let's have a consult the book again. Page 24, I think this is. Oh yes. So 5 houses and the little church comprise the village of Coombes, he says. And they're lovely. They're beautiful houses down there. It is a place for a pastoral poet to dwell if peace and unbroken solitude are what his soul delights in. And you can definitely get that sense. I mean, look, it's actually almost the church butts into the landscape itself. It's almost thrusting out of it. It's just a wonderful place. And I'm so unhappy that the churches are not yet open, but it's certainly well worth coming and having a look at, if you can, on another occasion, when they are open. Well, this is a wonderful church. In the book, Arthur talks about the history of the various different Coombes and the Normans and the various interesting little stories he's got. No time for me to talk about them now, but it's definitely in the text if you want to download it and have a read. So, up this way is a footpath that takes you up onto the downs. It's very lovely. You get some amazing views from up there, and you can wander over towards Sisbury Ring, which is great. But he doesn't take us that way. He carries us on towards Shoreham. I mean, basically we are sort of following the River Ada really through the valley, and we go past this rather beautiful and amazing timber-framed house, which one almost thinks is as old as the church, but can't quite possibly be, because this would be Saxon. But this is most likely Tudor, Elizabethan, something like that. I think it's called the old priest's house, so presumably the priest used to live there and wander over to the church. We'll go by, it's private, so you can't go in, and we'll head on back down towards the road. Well, there we are. What a lovely, I can't stop saying it, what a lovely church. And the priest's house, it's not the priest's house, it's called the old clergy house. That's what he calls it. And he tells this little story about a photographer and the book is sort of a bit weird, because he talks about an artist who's doing the sketches, and then t'other, he refers to him t'other, who's taking photographs. Now, whether that's 3 of them on this journey, I don't know. But he talks about the clergy house and how they sat down to do an artist's impression, one taking a photograph, which I wish we were privileged to see, we don't, and the other doing sketches. And it seems clouds came over and the photography didn't work, but there is a sketch of it. Anyway, that's all I've got time for in today's excursion. We will carry on down towards Shoreham, following Off the Beaten Track by Arthur Stanley Cooke in our search of Sussex, and just see where it takes us. Thank you so much for watching. It's been another brilliant and lovely little excursion into the countryside. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, become a patron, support what I do if you can. A few pennies really help. Give me a thumbs up, that always helps to propel the channel. And a like if you're on Facebook, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.